Hey guys, welcome to the Gedunk. We're back with another episode of Survivor Week 5, Episode 5, whatever you want to call it.
Season 42.
Mm-hmm. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm still...
This was a pretty boring episode, I thought.
Yeah, wasn't that great? You know, and because the event really wasn't that great in this one, right? It just wasn't near as physical as the last one was.
It was short, and I was like, come on, man, you got to throw something more at them than this.
But I will say, this totally proved my point who the weak link on the orange team is. So Omar,
a little bit.
That dude, holy cow. But we'll get to that.
All right, so they talk about the fallout from last episode, how they kept Rocks out of the know. Like, they didn't tell them what the plan was.
And he just thought that's because he's got to work on his social game.
Yeah, it was funny.
I guess I'm not picking up on these social cues.
Yeah, and Tori kept shaking her head the whole time as he's like talking about it. She's like, no, you haven't.
but it's funny how he just kind of flowed with that, right? Because normally he's kind of combative against what people say, and this time he just I think he's smart enough to realize now, okay, let me just kind of flow with this a little bit here and try to save myself.
He's like,
now,
I trust
I know I'm probably on the outs.
Yeah, I trust you. You guys made the right decision if that's why, yeah.
Yeah, next time just tell me and I'll vote with you guys. You know?
Yeah.
It's like,
I mean, he played it pretty well. I thought,
he did.
But old Tori is just, I don't know.
Well, I think he played it well, just too little too late at that point, because then everybody's like, yeah, now you're saying this, but the whole rest of the freaking past, several weeks, you've been, trying to do your own thing here, so.
And they go to Orange, and apparently the ladies are starting to grate on Jonathan, especially Marianne and Lindsay.
Well, they're the two ladies.
The two ladies on the team, I guess, but
they talk a lot.
Marianne is like nonstop.
Oh, dude, that girl
her motor
go. Yeah, I feel bad for Jonathan, man, because I mean, Marianne she's a little sweetheart, but she does. That girl just every time you see her on camera, just talk, and it's finally getting on his nerves, man, and I don't blame him.
Yeah, and it's starting to create this friction, especially as he's like chopping the wood and stuff like that, and she's like, you almost like hit me.
Yeah, and she's like going off on him. He's like, dude, you blow everything out of proportion, which she does, so it's
like, are you hurt? I didn't cut your toe off. What are we talking about?
You're good. But my foot was underneath it. And like, who cares? Just get out of here. Leave me alone. Let me chop this wood or this bamboo or whatever the hell.
So Jonathan starts planting the seeds about Marianne, though.
Yeah.
Well, I guess you kind of have to, right? You really got to start thinking about, all right, who's going to be our next one to go? We ain't going to be winning forever. So... And at this point, she's the most annoying to him, so he's like, screw it, man. He's got to get rid of this annoying little girl.
He figures he can win no matter what. He'll just win the challenge himself. So he doesn't really need any of the rest of them, to be honest with you.
Then you hear Marianne say, oh, it sucks we need him to carry us through this stuff because I kind of want to get rid of him right now. She's talking to Omar and says that to him, so. Yeah,
and he goes spearfishing to get away from it, and he's catching some fish, and they ate, like, those fish last week were huge, so they're pretty well fed, that team.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, man. Yeah, and thanks to Jonathan. You ain't seen nobody else out there spearfishing for them and catching their food.
So they go to green team, and High is kind of saying, like, I don't really like Chanel or Daniel, but Daniel's more transparent than Chanel.
Yeah.
What do you guys think about him saying that?
Well, it made sense. I mean, Daniel seems very, like, wishy-washy and just, like you can sway him in some way, and he just doesn't really understand what he's doing or whatever. Whereas Chanel, you don't really know what she's thinking.
Yeah, Daniel's transparent. I mean, he tells you stuff, but you can't necessarily believe everything he's telling you.
Well, he also makes mistakes, and he's readable, and you can pry stuff from him.
Yeah,
probably.
Exactly.
Yeah, and Chanel, you don't really know what she's doing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this is understandable because Chanel is the one who tried to orchestrate getting rid of High, essentially.
Oh, but did she?
Or, Lydia, actually.
Yeah, Lydia, yeah.
But did she?
Yeah. But
she's like, I can't. She didn't even vote. Well, she didn't even vote.
Right. Well, I'll tell you what's cool, because we talked about it last week. High and Lydia completely understand now, like, hey, we are at the top of this freaking this team.
Yeah.
Like, we control the vote in this team, and we know that, at this point. So they know they're gold. They're like,
and Mike is just kind of like a floater at this point. He's just like, well, I'll do whatever the team wants to do here.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And so he's playing it pretty smart there.
Oh yeah. No, Mike's playing very smart.
Now, the team also gets on to Daniel, who's snorkeling, spearfishing, but he claims like he can't do swim competitions. That's kind of odd.
That dude sits out almost every single competition.
You can't sit out a competition back to back. You can't sit out the same person. So, but he is sat out every other time.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
He sat out more than anybody.
Yeah, it's kind of odd. I mean...
Because he can't... he's got the shoulder thing.
Yeah, even going to this competition.
Unless he wants to fish.
And it was funny because they were like probing him when he came back. They're like, how's the water out there? Was it tough?
He's like, oh, it's great. It's peaceful. I love being out there. So are you having problems swimming? Was the water rough? No, it was good, man. I was swimming great.
And they're like,
yeah. Did you catch anything? Nah, I missed everything else. Your aim sucks. Yeah, my aim sucks.
So then they get to Romeo, and they kind of like show his backstory a little bit, and he's I don't know, like all about independent women and stuff like that.
Yeah, because his mom, you get that from his mother.
Yeah, now that was kind of interesting. With how he was taking care of what's her name.
Drea, was it?
Yeah.
At least what he says.
Yeah, what he said.
Right.
He's like,
it's like he's trying to groom her.
He's like, I feel like I'm coaching Drea here, helping her be the best her. You know?
I'm like, no, I think Drea is kind of doing her thing.
Yeah, she's
like,
holding her own.
That's how Drea is.
Drea's holding her own. Yeah.
Yeah, so, but
maybe he's coaching her on strategy as far as who they're voting. I don't know.
Well, then it makes you wonder, like, how do you even get into that job? Like he's a pageant coach. Like, how the hell do you even get into something like that? You know, especially as a dude. I don't know how that works, man. But
I don't know.
You gotta go to college for that, or how does that even? Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know either, but he's teaming up with her, and they're looking for idols.
Yeah.
And of course, anyone who looks long enough seems to find these things. Yeah. So they find the missing idol, and now they have all three people.
She doesn't even hesitate to open it and read it.
Oh, no.
There's the warning that, hey, this may not be the best thing that you... She's like, nah.
Well, they don't know too much about it. I don't think.
Yeah, but a lot of the other people... Right, but a lot of the other people, when they find it, they're like, oh, but it could be something bad with it, but no, I got to do it. Like, they never showed her, like, she's just like, I'm opening this thing.
Oh, yeah, no, there was no second thought, whatever, she's opening. Well, the thing is, she's got 3 different, you know, she's got that idol, she's got a different one, and then she's got the freaking extra vote, too. So she's, like, loaded up, man.
She said, what did she say? She's a survivor, millionaire,
survivor.
Survivor
Rich. Yeah.
Survivor Rich.
Survivor Rich, which is the name of the episode, I think. So, yeah. Yeah, I mean, she's gold, you know, especially, you know, I mean, as soon as that thing gets activated, she's got that, and then she's got her extra vote, and she's got the other trinket she got, so, man, that chick's, like, really, you think people would think people would be thinking about getting rid of her just because of how powerful she is.
A lot.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right.
Well, old Mike is thinking, like, I'm still probably not going to say this thing, and I'll just hold on to it until the merge, and then I'll get my vote back.
Well, he clarifies a little bit, because we had a couple questions about that. He basically tells them, now I'm assuming they wouldn't air that if it wasn't true, that once the merge happens and the idols automatically become active, Andy gets his vote back. So it does behoove him to kind of keep it a secret.
I was trying to listen when Drea was talking, and she didn't mention any of that.
Yeah.
No,
so I don't, that's the understanding that Mike has of it.
Yeah, but then of course, you know, he's telling his team, "Yep, I'm not going to say anything," and then of course they go into the event and he says it, you know, and then his team.
Well, Marianne does her thing, and then the other two perk up, and then of course Drea works her little message in there.
But then you see the look on High's face, and his other teammates are like, "What?
Why are you saying that?
This guy just told us he's not going to do this."
But then I'm wondering, I was like, at that point in time, he's now heard these two. The only thing that I would say would benefit him for not playing it at that point was if he was the only one to know about it. But the fact that everybody else on that team knows about it.
I think the assignment just got to him. I think he's like, oh, shit.
I think so too. I think so too, because there is an advantage of knowing what 2 other people have an idol.
Yeah.
But...
Yeah, I think the
and then not knowing that you have it. However, going into a merge, you know there's 4 other people that know you have it. Yep. So they're just going to go ahead and say it anyway.
I'm not a fan of how many people know like about these idols and everything else. So
there's been a lot of sharing on this.
I think it was smart for Mike to do that, because you never know when he's going to be a target and how they're going to reorganize teams. Maybe they'll go to 2 teams instead of all individual. Who knows?
Yeah.
So you need it as soon as you can get it, especially not having a vote.
Yep. And maybe that's the other thing he was looking at. He was like, well, if I activate this, I get my vote back.
I wonder if the show takes any of this into account. They're like, none of these idols have been activated. It's probably about time for the merge, but we'll prolong it.
Just one more time.
Yeah, and see if these guys do anything with this.
I also wonder if they move when, like, you have the other...
To keep inching it closer to the camera.
they get into a more obvious spot, and they're like, we'll just put this in someone's bag at this point.
Well, what I will say about Mike right now, too, is, High has pretty much proven himself a very trustworthy person, I think, for the most part in this game. So the fact that he's sharing it with High, and him and High have this, like, bromance kind of thing going on now at this point, High's like, hey, man, no worries, dude. If we need your vote for something, Mike's like, yeah, I'll just give you my extra vote, and you can use it for, X, Y, Z, whatever. So the fact that him and High have that good connection now, so you got him, High, and Lydia kind of now are gold, I think, on that team.
So they have the immunity challenge, and they're playing for immunity and a tarp. The team that finishes first gets a huge tarp. Second team gets a smaller tarp, and obviously the last team gets their flint taken away and voted off. So what did you guys think of this?
So what I thought was funny about that is they're so close to a merge now. and now you're playing for tarps. Like, so,
Yeah.
you know, because,
That's true, yeah.
you know, it's just like, well, you're playing for tarps, so now each team's going to have a tarp anyway when you merge down to 2 teams, potentially.
That's true.
You know, so it's
Well,
like,
we don't know what they're going to do for that, but
you know, maybe you should have did the tarp earlier in the game, you know?
yeah, I think it is kind of late to be doing that.
it's
but-
pretty
Yeah.
late for tarp.
Yeah, usually the tarp's like second or third.
Yeah, I mean, they're all excited about it, and rightfully so. You
Yeah.
know, it's great to have a tarp, but at this point, it's like, well, pretty damn close to merge, so I don't know.
Yeah, and I was pretty disappointed in this competition because I think this would have been fine for a food challenge, but not an immunity challenge, just because it seemed way too short.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, essentially, you jump up and climb over like a log via a rope, and then you get over that, and
The whole
then
team.
one person has to like unravel a rope puzzle thing, and then it's the slingshot.
Yeah,
Oh,
you
but
just
that rope puzzle thing sounds so easy.
Yeah, it would seem pretty easy, but Omar had a worse
Literally,
time.
it's not even really a puzzle. It's like
No, you just
a
unwind the
rectangle
rope.
that you
you
got
just
to
unwind
untangle.
the rope.
So simple.
And Omar was the first one to start, and he was by far the last one to finish. You know,
Yeah.
and he, like I said, he is
He was
definitely
struggling. Other people were coaching him big time.
Yeah.
Like, who knows how
And
long he would have been
you
there
heard
without
him
it.
at some point. He's like, I'm sorry, guys.
I'm sorry,
guys.
and poor Jonathan.
What am I doing
dude.
here?
Jonathan's standing there. He's like, there's nothing I can do.
I'd be like, this guy's never allowed to be on the any puzzle type of thing
He's
again.
done. Yeah. Oh yeah, but again, weak link. I was right. Because that guy was just horrible, man. And of course, I'm just watching him cringing. I'm like, what the hell is wrong with this guy? You know, I'm feeling for Jonathan and the rest of the team. I mean, this guy's horrible.
He's just keeping it real and making it interesting, man.
Yeah, he made it interesting, all right.
But blue team kind of smokes this thing.
Yeah.
I mean, they go nonstop. They struggle a little bit on the slingshot. I mean, I wouldn't even say really struggle, but
Nah, they miss a couple, but
they give a opportunity for someone to catch up, even though no one does.
They look like the orange team, you know, in this go around, you know, which is surprising.
And green team gets to the slingshot fairly quickly, not too far behind, and orange is way behind. But not blue. Green can't hit anything with their slingshot.
Nah. Not even close.
Yep.
Now
and then
Mike's
blue,
up there, and he's like way short.
Oh, dude, Mike's doing horrible. Well, and then even when other people rotate in, they're all doing horrible.
And then meanwhile, orange is starting to get their stuff together.
Oh, yeah. And then who do you get? You got save the group Jonathan coming in there and just bam, he smokes it. Boom, boom, done. It's like yes.
Yeah, he hits one pretty quick.
Oh yeah. He maybe missed like 2 or 3 the whole time, and he freaking smoked the other 2, and he was done. And of course, blue team.
Well, it did come down to the wire. Blue could have won, and they were pretty close on their last slingshot for when Jonathan hit his.
But they had such a head start over orange; it should have never come to that. I mean, they should have knocked it.
Right.
Orange should have gone to the freaking chopping block on that.
As soon as I saw orange get to the slingshot where it was even, because at that time green hadn't even hit one.
Right.
You just kind of felt like orange was going to beat them.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
and that's
he said
exactly
that.
what
He said
happened.
they're gonna win, like, or they'll get second.
So, and you see the look of relief on Jonathan's face.
Yeah.
Yeah, the look of relief when he hit that second one. He's like, just.
Yeah.
This episode's kind of interesting for Jonathan because you see him get frustrated this episode.
Oh yeah.
And he's normally pretty calm, cool, and collected.
He was also like not one of the ones kind of like coaching Omer through it. He was just kind of standing aside, like looking in disbelief, like. Where normally he's the one who keeps calm, cool, and collected, and be like, "All right, let's just calm down, let's talk through it and whatever." But he was just like, "Just finish the puzzle."
Well, and the thing is too, this is after all the conversation that they were having about him wanting to get rid of Marianne wanting to get rid of him, all that. So I'm curious to see how their conversation is going to change in the next episode. Like, all right, hey Marianne, let's just let bygones be bygones. Let's get rid of this clown here.
Well, this is
he can't even unwind it down.
Kind of interesting because blue is the only team that has one more person. So now every team has four person once they vote someone off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
And of course, they have to send 2 people to the island.
Yeah.
And who goes there?
The one that couldn't jump and get the thing. Why can't I think of her name?
Lydia.
Yeah.
Lydia and Roxroy, right?
Rox, yeah. Yep.
And the team is kind of waiting on Lydia to make her journey because they're the team that lost. So they have to vote someone off. And they're like, we don't know how Lydia's journey is going to impact this thing. But they go on their little journey. And that's pretty uneventful, too, because they both choose to protect their votes. So kind of like a non-issue here.
Yeah, exactly.
You just go walk this hill and get to talk with someone. And
and you kind of saw that coming, I mean, because neither one of them seemed like big risk takers. So I kind of figured they were both going to protect their vote. And that's exactly what happened.
So as Rox put it, like no one's willing to risk it for the biscuit. So
right, exactly. But hey, at least they don't lose their votes, right? So at least they know they're safe on that. So
yeah, and then when it comes talking to who's going to be up, it seems like Chanel and Daniel are the ones being targeted for elimination.
and we saw that coming.
Yeah, I mean, that's the obvious choices there. So
and then they start their conversations and freaking, of course, Daniel starts kind of his little crap show, and then Chanel does a little talking, and it just, I was kind of surprised. Well, I was surprised about one thing, the way the vote went down when they finally showed us, who voted for who, and I was like, why?
Well, Mike promised Chanel that he was gonna vote for Daniel to be out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I mean, she approached him early, so.
Right.
Do you think at that point he intended to keep his word, or was he just trying to, comfort her, or what?
I think he intended to keep his word when he told her that. Because
he does go to High later and say, "I'll vote however you want me to vote."
Because he's not a fan of Daniel. Mike is not a fan of Daniel. We've seen that in previous episodes. So yeah, I think he intentionally.
I don't think anyone's a fan of Daniel.
No, exactly.
I don't see. It doesn't really show him getting too close to Chanel though. At the same time.
Yeah.
No, it's true, but. He doesn't like Daniel though, so I mean that when he tells Chanel, "Hey, I'm with you. I'm gonna vote Daniel." I'm sure he was telling her the truth at the time.
So they go to tribal council, and you feel like this is going to be a pretty boring episode because it's between those two, and probably at this point when they're even talking, like it's the way they're hinting, like especially between Daniel and Mike, that it seems like Chanel's going to be the one going home.
Yeah.
And then
you can see Chanel's face; she's kind of picking up on that too.
And then Daniel keeps like talking about Mike and the firehouse, and like it seems like he's buttering Mike up, and then Chanel picks up on that and like calls that out.
Oh yeah.
And I thought that was pretty
smart
of her to do because I was thinking exactly the same thing.
Who isn't? Yeah, exactly.
So this dude trying to suck up to Mike.
This dude might as well pull Mike's pants down and start getting big kisses on his butt because that's what he was trying to do here.
Billy's in a different realm today.
Because he was totally sucking up to him, just being a butt kisser, man. I was like, dude, it's like, and the fact that Mike, I'm sure Mike probably picked up on it, but he didn't say anything about it. He's like, oh yeah, appreciate that, But
they were, it seemed like bouncing off each other for a bit there.
Yeah.
So they go to vote, and then at this point, Jeff asked, "Does anyone want to have an idol or anything they want to play?" And I would expect Chanel to do the shot in the dark at this point because this seems the way the conversation is going. It seems very obvious that Chanel's in trouble here.
Yeah,
but she's like, "No, I'm good."
Yeah.
What did you think about that?
I don't know if that was just her being naive or if or she felt comfortable.
Or maybe
I don't know.
Behind the scenes we saw more of people saying, "Yeah, we're going to get rid of Daniel." Then they actually showed us on the TV, So maybe she felt pretty comfortable. Hey, we're getting rid of Daniel here. Even though the way her vote went, I was like, huh?
Yeah.
Like when it showed like who voted for who, and I was like, what the?
So the vote comes out, and it's like Daniel, Chanel, and then like one random vote for Mike.
Yeah.
So then it's a tie, and then you got Mike's vote just kind of hanging out there, and you're kind of like, who the heck would have voted for Mike?
Yeah.
And I mean, we really couldn't figure it out until we saw, because it didn't make any sense to us.
No, it made no sense.
Did it make any sense to you?
No, because I mean, when it finally showed that it was Chanel that voted for Mike, it was like
if she would have voted for Daniel,
would have been it. There'd been no tie.
Yeah, so I'm wondering if
and Mike,
I wonder if there was a strong conversation beforehand where they said, Chanel, you're going to be safe, but in case any hokey stuff goes on, we need another name out there or something, which that doesn't make much sense to me either.
No, it doesn't make sense to me. And the thing is,
maybe they'll
because I
explain
get
that
going
in the
back and
next
forth between the
episode.
two of them. You kind of split it in case the shot in the dark, right? Because you're like, one of these two is going home.
Yeah. But the thing is too, though,
Mike vote? I don't know.
Especially when Mike promised her that I'm voting for Daniel. Like, hey, I'm with you, Chanel.
I
I'm
just
going to vote
couldn't
for
figure
Daniel.
it out. And Mike looked a little shocked too. So
he was just like, huh?
Yeah, and he looked back at her and he's like,
why on
I
earth
kept
would
my
she
word.
do that?
Yeah, I have no clue, man. I saw that and I was just like, what the? Because I was like, did Daniel vote for Mike? I was like, who voted for Mike here? And they showed Chanel. And
Maybe
I was like, what?
here, the only thing I can think of is Chanel knew that they were targeting Daniel, and she's like, well, if Daniel uses the shot in the dark, I'm going to put a vote on Mike, and Mike will go home.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
But she still would have went home in that scenario.
Right, exactly.
though.
She set 2 votes on her. Yeah,
But
I don't know,
maybe
man.
she
But
didn't
maybe
believe
she didn't
that
think
she
they
would
would
have- yeah.
split it.
Right.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
that's
That's the
crazy.
only thing that
Maybe
makes sense
they'll
to
tell
me.
us in the next episode. Maybe
it was odd to
they'll-
me. I was like,
I
what
hope they
is
tell
this?
us.
They
I mean,
explain her thought
If
process
we're
on
missing
that.
something, let us know.
Yeah, because please let us know because I had no clue.
Because I was dumbfounded about that. I was
Yeah.
like,
Yeah, hopefully Chanel will will explain why in the
why
next
she
one.
did
Yeah,
it.
because I hope so. Because I was just like, what the?
and it was also kind of odd because Mike's like, I told you I got you, but Mike originally voted to get rid of her.
Yeah.
So he didn't try and protect her unless this whole thing was planned by someone the whole time. Like, we're going to tie it for, I don't even know why you would do that, but.
I think a lot of behind the scenes stuff happened in that team that we did not get to see. For the way the vote went down. I was like, that whole thing just kind of surprised me. I was like, yeah, because Mike went for Chanel. He promised her he wasn't going to, but then he told them, I'm going to vote who you want me to vote for. But then it's like, why would two of you vote for for Daniel and two of you for Chanel if you've all kind of gotten on the same page there? So I was like, I thought they all talked.
It should have been 3 and 2 just in case the shot in dark.
Exactly. Right. So yeah, which would have been the case had Chanel voted for Daniel, right? So yeah, I don't know, man. It was weird.
It was weird.
Yeah,
it was weird.
Yeah,
and I was shocked that Daniel went
home
home the way the conversation was going. So I thought for sure it was going to be Chanel.
And I'm glad Daniel went home. I'm tired of that dude. Because
even High was making sense. Like, I get like you don't like either one of them, but Daniel, you could read him like a book. Chanel is harder, so that makes sense.
Yeah.
Right.
And they even talked earlier that like when it came to the merge, Chanel would probably be the one more likely to team up with someone else from another team.
Yeah. I mean, High is definitely the brains of that group, man. That dude knows how to play the game. He knows how the game's going, and he's making smart decisions. And he's trying to help everybody else. Like, hey, this is what we need to do here, and trying to kind of guide the team. But yeah, that was a weird vote, man. I was dumbfounded with that whole vote.
Yeah, I don't know.
But hey, hopefully we'll get our explanation next episode,
week's
man.
a 2-hour episode.
2 hours.
Yeah, it is.
And some kind of special thing, perhaps with the merge. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe. You heard Mike saying, "Oh, we're gonna merge," and he's like, not quite. So it's like, what does that mean?
That could be a very good editing tactic.
Could be.
Yeah, because they tried to blow up that Mary Ann Jonathan thing last week, and it really wasn't that big of a deal.
No, yeah, exactly. So, yeah, man. Well, you guys got any last thoughts or comments you want to make?
Yeah, this episode didn't really change my thoughts too much on anything.
No, I'm still rooting Jonathan. Still like High. Still like Romeo. So yeah, and after this episode, I'm still where I was.
Yeah. Come on, Jeff, man. You got to make the shows more interested in this or something. I don't know.
Yeah, and the challenge, like you said, the challenge.
The challenge, they should have really been pushed harder than what they were.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, no
like
doubt.
you look at the challenge that they actually had to call.
Especially Orange Team to have all that food, and then they do something like this that the only exertion was the first part of the obstacle. Right. And I mean, that's one thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I could have seen this for a reward challenge, but
but not for immunity. That's crazy.
Yeah.
And speaking of rewards, hey, this is probably the last week you're going to have to earn one of these bad boys. So all you subscribers out there, and if you're not a subscriber, subscribe so you can be a part of this. Tell us who you think's going to win. If that person's wins, your name goes in a drawing, and the first 5 people we choose get a Tiki Glass in the continental United States, because we're not paying $1 million to ship it overseas. Sorry, folks, but we're just not doing that. But again, last chance, because if a merge happens next week, that's it. You got to put your guess in before the merge. So please hit like and subscribe. Put your guess in. Get yourself a Tiki Glass like we have. They're pretty damn cool to drink out of. We enjoy it. So, get yourself one. And until
all you gotta do is say High is gonna win.
That's right.
High?
Yeah, High.
I don't know about that, but we will find out. We'll definitely find out. But hey, we appreciate you guys, and please let us know what you thought about this episode. Jump in there and tell us what you think. Chanel's intentions were there, because we're all super confused about that. And
maybe we're all super dumb. I don't know. We just don't get it.
Yeah, but hey, until next time, we will check you guys in the next discussion.
See you guys.
See ya.
Cut! Next time on Survivor. Yes. You got a little red booger on your tip of your nose or something. Not the tip of your nose.
Right, cut myself shaving.
Not a booger, people.
Not a booger. It is
not
a scab.
You got the booger.
Cut myself shaving.
You got the booger.
It's not a booger.
It's a booger, people.
It's not a tumor.
It's not a tumor.
It's a booger. Jeff, he blocks me all the time.
Oh, Jeff Probst? Blocks you? Son of a bitch.
Yep. Probably because I say guys like every episode.
That's right.
I say...
That's what's controversial.
See you guys. He's like, what did that son of a bitch said, guys? He thinks he can no more. I can't say it.
That's probably why it's controversial.
I said no more guys.
He's like, it's going to be her.
Or Milton.
Are we ready?
Are we ready?
I got a lot to cut out of this.
My stapler. Get somebody to my stapler.
I was told I could listen to
Don't move the basement. I'm going to burn this place down.
at a reasonable volume.